Hey, welcome back to the Tailgate Show. I'm your host, Tom Jamiles, and we're talking to children empowered by Caregivers of Louisiana. We had a great last segment. These ladies were telling me their wonderful stories, but I'm still, I guess a little bit concerned that so many grandparents, are raising their grandkids. When they call you guys and say, hey, look, I'm raising my grandkid, or an aunt calling and say I'm raising, my sister's children. I mean, what are they asking for? What are some of the things that they first say they need?
I think the first thing that you would find is that people want to connect with organizations and individuals that are really going through the same things that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
How could you help me navigate through the system in order to get help and assistance for my family, or the grandchild or grandchildren that I'm raising?
Yeah, because that pose a problem, and you can all chime in on this, but I've heard this said before, is that when a grandparent or a loved one gets a kid, what about the medical stuff? Power of attorney, or when you have to take them to the doctor, or mentoring, or even when you have to file for SNAP.
Mm-hmm.
Which at this point you may need to. You got more mouth to feed. How does that work? Because that's a problem.
Brenda, I've heard of incidents where parents were in, or individuals were in like homes and living in homes where no children were allowed to live. And so what happens when you're in a living facility where there's no children that can be there, but then you have this responsibility of a child that you have to raise. So there's a lot of factors that kind of go along with that.
Okay.
Brenda?
A lot of them ask legal help.
Legal, okay.
My rent is due. My utilities are due. When I get calls, it's calls like that. We're living in a home, we're cramped, there's not enough room, we're sleeping on floors. Is there help out there for us? So what I do, a lot of times I know of someone that can assist these people.
Right.
And not only know, I will go out of my way, go pick them up, and take them where they need to go to get the proper help they need. And the financial burden, it's a mental stress.
Yes.
It strains you. Believe it or not, I've been in that situation before. Really. Utilities is about to be turned off.
Right.
Didn't know where to go. But made a simple phone call and went myself and took care of that right then. So I know how to help people to get the resources that they need when they call.
That's good. Well, let's dive a little bit more into your organization, if you don't mind. Tell me about other people who work with you guys, and tell me about some of your founding board members.
Okay, so there's about 7 board members that we have that's connected. The vast majority of the individuals that are working with this, many of them are volunteers.
Okay.
Board members, they come from an array of different backgrounds. I know we have a retired social worker, which that's another whole thing too, because a lot of times when you have a child that has been either rejected by their parent or are deaf, because that's another reason why another relative or someone else could be raising them. There can be death. There's grieving that takes place.
Right.
There's hurt. There's pain. There's questions like why me? And so the fact that we have individuals who are on the board who at one time were social workers.
Okay.
Who could really understand and sit down and communicate
Licensed
with a
social
child.
workers.
Yes,
That's right.
exactly.
Good deal.
Yeah. And so our volunteers and board consist of individuals that come from an array of different areas.
Okay.
Me, myself, I have a early child education background.
Okay.
And so I'm on the ground when it comes to the kids. And, I love children. I do. And so it's that sense of giving love to them. And just individuals who are aware of where to find resources and information that could help families and children.
Well, let me ask you this, Ms. Marvin, you can chime in on this. How can kids get benefits from having a caregiver? Or can they? Can kids get benefits?
No, you have to really go through the parent. If the parent doesn't agree to help you, then you're stuck.
But what if the parent is incarcerated?
Then you have to get some type of affidavit or something notarized for the caregiver to take the child and have the social security. Everything has to be turned into the caregiver's name. It's not half and half. You can't keep the kids under the person incarcerated's name, everything has to be transferred into one person's name.
So what you're telling me is if someone's incarcerated, today and they have kids and then, they find out that they have, some time, 3 to 5 years, then there needs to be an affidavit?
It has to be some type of affidavit from the parent giving the caregiver permission to get benefits for that child.
It's often temporary.
Right.
Temporary.
Okay, and you know what? And then that poses a problem because I'm thinking again, because sometimes, some prisoners you can, it's right there, it's tangible, you can touch them, but some of them you can't, so how do you get that paperwork? I guess you have to mail it to them.
You have to mail it,
okay,
get the paperwork, mail it to the person that's incarcerated. The person incarcerated has to then get it notarized.
How they gonna get that done?
They have to go through their the system there.
Okay.
It's not overnight. It's going to take some weeks. Meanwhile, you have to find food, money, whatever to take care of the child. So that's what you end up. Other than that, you have to use your own resources, your own pocket, your own finances.
Right.
And then that gets deteriorated while you're waiting for the system to give you permission to have some type of help for that child.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what she's saying is true. But with our organization, we're going to have legal help.
Okay.
Where
awesome.
That person, you get that out, do the affidavit, go to the prison, get it signed right then and there. I've done it before.
Okay.
With my neighbor, took her to the lawyer, and he and I and she, we went to the prison.
Okay.
Had the affidavit signed, brought it right back to the social services.
Department of Family and Children.
Department of Family and Social Workers.
Okay, that's good information for someone who's listening to know, because like I said, that, that's a challenge right there.
Legal costs are very expensive.
Yes.
And that is the major reason why so many children kind of fall between the cracks and families fall between the cracks as well, because they cannot afford legal assistance. It's very costly. And so, and then you could possibly have the issue where you have internal battles between mother and relative who's caring for the child. So, if you have a parent who is dependent on drugs, and their mind and their thinking process is not clear. So therefore, the decisions that they make are not decisions that are beneficial for the child.
Right.
And here you are as a caregiver trying to make the decisions for a child. There's often inner turmoil, and so that's some of the things that we have to look at when we think about legal assistance and having a lawyer to come in to try to speak up and to work on the behalf of the child. And that's another whole piece of it. I used to be a court-appointed special advocate for kids who are
abused. Is that
CASA, yeah. And so
they do great work.
They do amazing work. And so that's just one of the battles that you have. But it makes it more personal when it's relatives. It really does. And there are many relatives who are fighting tooth and nail for the well-being of these kids in spite of the biological parent having issues.
Well, Miss Marva, let's go back again. I know you're the newbie at the table.
Lots of help.
You're the newbie at the table. So tell me what kind of help these gorgeous women have been giving you thus far.
As far as the children, the grandchildren, great-grandchildren, I'd say, the father doesn't want to cooperate with the child support. So Brenda has been giving me ways of how I can get in touch with him, follow up on the child support. Some of them, they need therapy. Also, they recommend me to how I need to a therapy.
That's good.
They didn't have the money to pay for the medicine that some of them needed. So she also, through this organization, I found how I was able to get help for the medicine. As far as discipline and ways of how they're having behavior problems and stuff, I've been able to sit down and they've been able to give me some ideas on how to help me as far as giving them a calming effect so they wouldn't be so destructive.
Right. Well, one of the things I like that you said that you guys believe in therapy, because, our culture, we're not big on therapy. I know I am. However, that's traumatic when a kid is taken away from their parent, or their parent is incarcerated or whatever, and now they're raised by a grandparent. Even though that's grandparents are great, they're the best, but still that could be traumatic for kids. So to say that you guys make sure that they have the therapy or get the therapy that they need is good. And also medication. And it goes back again talking about, the stuff you have to go take them to the doctor.
Yes, that is very true. The medical aspect of it. Because this is the thing, even enrolling a child in school, you have to have paperwork. Okay, getting medical information, you have to have paperwork. And so, the mission and goal of Children Empowered by Caregivers is to help individuals, as she just mentioned, navigate and move through the system.
That's
because
good.
There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yes.
When in a home that is traditional, there are issues that go on.
No doubt.
But when you have many different factors that have led to separation, individuals being rejected, and I think you mentioned that when you were saying that, and I know this from my studies, even children who've been abused and neglected still want to go back to those parents who abused them and neglected them.
Wow.
So that speaks to the heart of how a child feels.
Right.
Because, there's just this feeling of rejection, and none of us want to live in a place of rejection.
Right. So, Ms. Brenda, you have, such, great experience in this role. Tell us how did you do it? Well, I know with a lot of prayer. We're going to first say that one.
Yes, prayer and determination. When I first acquired my grandchildren, I used my sense. I need birth certificates. I need Social Security cards. I need all of this. And I need an affidavit stating that these 4 children are in my care.
Okay.
That was the first thing I did. I just went online and went to AARP website, and they told me some of the things that I need to do, and I went and did it. As of today, right now, believe it or not, I need a birth certificate for one of my grandchildren to leave middle school to go to high school.
Oh, wow.
Today. And I've had him since he was in school, beginning of school. And now, a lot of times, they don't want to issue birth certificates if it's not for the parent. They don't.
Yeah,
they turn you down.
Right.
So what I'm going to have to do, if I can't find this birth certificate, find my daughter, and we go wherever it takes to get this birth certificate this week. But that's how I got through the system. I just maneuvered and got information from the organization Head Start. That was a lovely organization for me too. It's the Head Start Grandparent Support Group.
Okay.
My very first day there,
okay,
I got the help I needed.
Well, that's good, and we're going to talk a little bit more about them. But we're going to take a quick break, so don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back at the tailgate.